We have Singularity versus Resolve as our first game of the day, and this does have impacts on standings. Of course, Singularity, one of those teams that could potentially be locked into a tiebreaker scenario, depending on the outcome of this game. Now, Jamada's pretty confident in the Resolve boys to take the win here versus Singularity, and Singularity have not been on the best run of form heading into this particular match. In fact, have been lacking a little bit in terms of their play in the NLC. Luckily, they had a really strong mid-season as well as early season that's put them in a good, strong playoff spot, but right now, when it seems to count the most, are just struggling a tad.
And I think this game has the most ramifications of any game today, because Singularity can actually go from first to third in their group. So a lot of movement for them, and also Resolve have the potential to be involved in a tiebreaker as well. So a lot of knock-on effects will be established by this game. So definitely an interesting one that we're going to see play out. But I agree completely. I think Singularity perhaps a little bit underwhelming recently, and not in the form we saw for them earlier in the season. Yeah,
absolutely. It looks like we've got the bans coming through very quickly here. Zhao being banned pretty frequently across all the ERL levels, even at the LEC level now as well. Viego goes away, Tristana banned, Jace taken off the board, Thresh has gone. We'll see what Resolve choose to ban as their final one. We have obviously Gwen still left available, although some teams not as proficient with Gwen as maybe just because they haven't had the playtime with her, but we'll see what Resolve choose to get rid of.
Yeah, my best guess would be Gwen, unless there's something else that they want to target away from. I feel like you usually look at Fury for like target bans when you're playing against SNG, unless there's something else. Very worrying, but there's the Gwen. Does leave up, a lot of the AD carries if they want that. But okay, I say AD carries. Ziggs at the moment sort of played in the bottom lane a fair amount, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see Dragbell piloting this one. Very strong at the moment, so we'll see what Resolve actually have into it, because they are one of the few teams as well that I feel like would want to play the Ziggs also.
Yeah, you'd think that coming into this, they've hopefully had a strategy leaving the Ziggs open. This thing has been banned pretty heavily globally with the power of it, so I'd assume there's some strategy in play that we'll get to see to sort of deal with this one, because it's definitely a solid start for Singularity. They're just going to bring out the Varus, which in my opinion isn't exactly something I would think to be part of some bigger strategy to deal with it, but either way, there's something that can match his range to an extent.
We're going to see the Renekton picked up early as well. Flexible pick, obviously can go mid or top, so they're just keeping their options open there. Although I would say if Ziggs was to go mid, Renekton is one of those picks that might struggle in the longer form of the laning phase. We'll see the Nautilus locked in though, so an early aggressive lockdown pick can be difficult for the Varus to deal with if that Nautilus does get on top of him. And that may mean that Singularity want to choose an AD carry that suitably pairs up with Nautilus on this rotation. Although saying that, we'll have to see. I mean, we have seen some Kindred. I don't really like... Yeah, there we go. Kindred locked in. We have seen some Kindred recently, and it'll be Nulty that takes it as well.
Yeah, I think it gives you a sustained AD threat, which is important when you're taking the Ziggs. Also, Nulty's really come from the champion. He's been playing it a ton, so a good pick in that regard. And also, a lot of the answers to the Ziggs and team fights is you have to engage on him. Obviously, if he can keep you a maximum distance and poke you down, you're never going to have fun. And Kindred makes those engages difficult. So I think it's a smart pickup. And obviously from Resolve, Leona, good match into Nautilus, syncs well with the Varus. And again, has that engage to potentially deal with the Ziggs.
So here, banning the Lulu, which is obviously Lulu has been flexed into lanes outside of the support role recently. We've seen her in like LCK top, I believe. We've seen her played mid as well, a lot in the ERLs too. So banning the Lulu way here for Resolve, and also the Lulu Kindred combination is pretty disgusting at some points, so you have to be careful of that. Lee Sin being banned away though by Singularity. Jamada, what do you think that Resolve are trying to target here? Like
I think it's more looking at sort of removing away things that can maybe bully out the Renekton at Tad in the top lane, because Lulu is one of the few picks like ranged like level 1 through 3. You can kind of deal with the Renekton, put him at HP threshold where he's not really comfortable to start doing Renekton things in the lane. So I think in that regard it does make a lot of sense. I wouldn't be surprised. I was actually going to say to see someone like Gragas actually moved away, just because Wazor does lean on it, especially as a weak side top laner into things like Renekton. But there earlier, I think it's a very powerful pick on this patch, so I'm not too surprised about that. And LeBlanc also risen in priority a lot, kind of across the board. Something that Chimera does play, and Lee Sin as well, sort of as a pairing removed at the same time. So I like what both these teams have done here. We'll have to see exactly what Resolve want to do now for their mid jungle.
Yeah, I think jungle probably the better pickup to take here, unless you have something specifically you want to blind.
Ooh.
Actually seen the Kha'Zix come out, so sometimes we see junglers who look to hard contest Kindred in the early game. Kha'Zix isn't really going to do that. It's not until level 6 that I feel like you have high kill pressure on him, because your ult allows you to chase him down. you know, it has that potential to pick off isolated targets. But again, you know, I expect the Kindred to be grouping up with the rest of the team for Singularity. It's going to make it difficult to pick out an individual target. And as a result, Kha'Zix maybe not going to have the highest value.
Yeah, I think it depends. I think in the early game with the jungle matchup, like Kha'Zix, for as long as I've remembered Kha'Zix, it's always about if he jumps on the target first, right? We'll have to see, because Kindred outside, I don't want to say she's like immobile, but if you catch her slipping and you're playing Kha'Zix, you'll normally almost one-shot every single time. So we'll have to see. I think it actually maybe gets harder for Kha'Zix in 06, funnily enough, because of the element. But there's the Gragas locked in, going into the top lane for Wazor. I think Team Singularity at the moment, a lot of versatility in terms of how they can play out fights, a lot of disengage, a lot of re-engage, a lot of engage. It kind of depends on how Resolve want to angle this for their final pick. And I think it will say a lot about how Resolve are going to play out some of these team fights, because right now, there is a lot of versatility for Team SNG, and I think it's going to be relatively difficult for Resolve to play around, given some of the tools they've got right now. Is it really going to be Xerath? Wow.
I mean, I've seen Chimera play Xerath. I'm guessing they're trying to go all in. But the thing is, like, the comp has got so many different facets to it. Like, it almost feels like it doesn't work together properly. But talk to me about these two comps before we head into this first game.
Yeah, so for me, the Xerath makes sense because it's actually something that can outrange the Ziggs, which is a rarity. There's also not too many major engage threats from Singularity. Gragas obviously can find an engage, Nautilus can, but they kind of need to be like within a certain distance. If you're standing way back as Xerath, it can be quite difficult to find that. And I think as a result, you know, putting the Samira bot lane, having the Ziggs mid, Resolve are going to be able to outrange and just poke them down, whereas Singularity, if they do get engaged on, they have very good kite back, very strong front to back. I actually think Resolve have found a bit of an edge here because they're going to be able to win these poke fights, and Singularity, their comp really only flourishes if Resolve are aggressing into them, which they don't need to do.
Yeah, and one thing I will say, because of the amount of sort of potential poke we have on both sides as well, through like the Ziggs, Xerath, and then the Varus, I think being in front of objectives this game is going to be a really, really big deal. Whoever's actually got Riv control in front of the Baron, in front of Herald, Dragons, I think you immediately have an edge in a lot of these team fights from start to finish.
Yeah, the vision as well going to be really key.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see. I mean, it's two very interesting comps drafted. I haven't seen a Xerath in competitive for quite some time, so we will see. Let's check in with our casters then before we head into this game and hand it over to Hiprain and Foxdrop.
Thank you very much, guys. A bit of an exciting one here, Foxy, getting locked in with the Xerath and the Kha'Zix. I want to get your thoughts on these comps. As you know, just adjust your camera. Should have done that.
Yeah. I had the opposite problem of
you know, my lights are off. Don't worry, I need to adjust my lights in a minute. I am orange. I am tangoed right now.
I just love the fact that one team first picks Ziggs and then it's the other team that comes out with the poke advantage. Like, I just love that. So I feel like they took it personally, thinking that they were going to get outranged, and then they lock in the Varus, they lock in the Xerath. I think, you know, honestly, Ziggs into Xerath, that is just going to be it's kind of funny, but I don't think it'll be that entertaining. I'll be honest.
No, that's what I was getting at as well. It's like, it's one of those games where it's like, oh wow, crazy picks, and then you think back to the last time Ziggs and Xerath were like meta, and you're like, oh, 50-minute games. Like Rift Herald didn't exist back then though, so Ziggs obviously back then also didn't have the tower destruction on his W. So, you know, if Singularity can start snowballing with the Heralds and just pushing them down mid, it means Chimera doesn't have somewhere safe to sit and just catch waves. If you can crack that mid very early in the game, and with a Ziggs, it's easy to do that. This lane, the state of this lane can be very different from, you know, several seasons back when, you know, you'd have Unholy Grail starts both of these champions in the mid lane and just sit and clear waves constantly. Remember when Luna's Echo wasn't an item that was like you just have to buy if you wanted mana sustain, and it was just like a second item for some champions?
Yeah.
Wow.
We'll probably be seeing Luna's Echo though in this game.
I think we might be seeing a couple of Luna's Echoes in this game.
Teeny weeny little bit, most likely. Double Comet coming through for the mids as well. Something that I'm also like to take away from our folks from the mid lane, we have seen a Kha'Zix locked into the Kindred here.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm going to be focusing on jungle matchups. That's kind of that's my comfort zone. But I think it's really interesting. I think it's going to be really cool because the Kha'Zix pick isn't great into the overall composition of Singularity, but it is good into Kindred. And I think that's where Soft is going to try and get his advantage. You know, he's going to try and look to find the small skirmishes, to find the 1v1s against the Kindred early game and to punish her.
Well, for anyone who is tuning in, this is the final day of group stages here at the NLC. I know it has flown by, but Here we are. We have 6 games today. It is going to be a long one, so buckle in. I wasn't told we were starting an hour early, by the way, so I am flushed right now. But see how this first game is going to be starting. We're starting actually with the Group A teams is our first 3 games, and then our final 3 games are actually Group B. So we're going to follow the narratives of these final teams like it was said on the desk. Not changing anything as far as relegations, playoffs, and things like that go, but it is going to change seeding, and seeding can be oh so important for these teams.
Absolutely. And also, you kind of just want to end on a high, you know, like,
yeah,
it means a lot. Like, these players aren't robots. they're human beings. They got feelings, they got emotions. I know that might be strange to say, but I guarantee you it's probably true. You don't, no one, probably, you don't
inside sources have told us these people feel.
Yeah, they do. On occasion, maybe, potentially. I mean, they are League of Legends players, so we'll put an asterisk on it.
Well, I know
We're
Eddie Carries feel. Eddie Carries feel rage. Nothing but rage.
Whereas junglers just feel nothing.
Weasel is currently getting a bit of a beatdown from Kalen. Kind of the expected thing from a champion like Renekton in lane. He is pretty aggressive.
Yeah. And reminder, we haven't seen Gragas into Renekton too much so far, or at this point in the season, but it was way more popular early on. It's basically just being able to lose gracefully as the Gragas and then kind of be a bit more useful as the game goes on, providing a bit more to those team fights and not letting Renekton just like pop off and then be a huge force in that mid game. And obviously not dying to him too much either, because you can go for a more tanky build. It's going to be heavily favoured though into that Renekton early on, especially since Gragas is a melee champion, so he does have to walk up kind of close, just like this. That means that Caleb on that Renekton, if he ever has any Fury out, Bezo has to be pretty careful. And of course, it's Soft as well. If he does want to have that good early game, if he wants to be able to get a few kills, he is an assassin, he will snowball pretty hard. This top lane early on might be a good target for him.
A belly bot will be a pretty useful tool to kind of keep Caleb at hand, but you got to land it before he gets the full combo off. But he's able to sustain up thanks to his Drunken Rage. Will give him enough sustain to kind of keep himself happy in this lane. Both of the junglers are on the top side of the map. And
yeah.
where's the Kindred RNG going to go? But in the top side, Wazor and Kalen still fighting off at the slice, the dice. They're both going low. Wazor flashes out and Kalen comes in with a slice and dice. And that was unbelievably clutch. First blood picked up as now Soft getting jumped onto. It's a 2 versus 2. The satchel charge into Soft's going to do a lot of work, and that's going to force him to flash away. This is the mark. This is oh so important for Nulty. And he's going to be able to get it with the help of Fury.
Advantage Kindred in the stronger matchup early on. Fortunately for Soft, he is going to be able to get that bot crab because his bot lane, Achu and FGG, they are pushing in. So he is going to be able to get a consolation prize there, but really it's not the start you want to have. You know, that Xerath Ziggs matchup mid, it's like whoever can move first, but they're both just perma-clearing waves. And it turned out that time Fury was able to move a tad earlier than Chimera. And to be honest, Fury is just like... I mean, I think Fury is one of the better mids we have in the entirety of the NLC.
Yeah.
And he's just showing it, you know, it's little things like that to be able to give you jungle advantages in the early game, which really add up and can lead to some big things.
Looks like Nulty might be looking for a dive onto Caleb. Obviously, you're only level 4, so no Dominus to kind of give you that bonus health. And I think this might be one dead Crocodile unless he can get one hell of an outplay. Looks for the interrupt, can't quite get it off. And actually, he turns it. Wazor will go down. Caleb with the 1-for-1 in the 2v1.
Still worth it though for Singularity. Not only do you get that extra assist gold, you're going to be able to crash a wave under the tower, but also, most importantly for Nulty, he had that Marg up, so he's able to get that one down on Caleb. And take another look at that one. It's really like easy as it goes. Wazor just tanks the tower. There's not too much to do. It's still Renekton, so you have to respect that. But you see they waited right at that last second there for the mark to turn from Soft into Caleb. To get that going there for the Kindred, and now she's off to a good start in that early game.
That's 2 marks on the Kindred. That 4 is kind of the magic number. The mark is on the opposite side of the map from Nulty though, so probably not going to be going for an invade there. We'll take away the chicken camp. And, you know, mid lane, as expected, pretty uninteractive. It's been all about this top lane. It's been very aggressive. Caleb slicing, dicing, able to get away, but just concentrating in these top laners is very, very aggressive stuff. And with the whip finished up, Caleb can make pretty quick work of these waves.
And all the while, we've been taking a look at the top side. Bot lane slowly, quietly, has been going pretty heavily in the favor of Resolve. They've been pushing constantly. always having Samira under tower. They've managed to build themselves up a pretty good CS lead as well. There's the level 6 from Renekton.
Yeah, I think he's looking for it. The Dominus is popped. There is the Ruthless Predator. You can heal yourself up as much as you want, Wazel, but you have no cast. You have nowhere to go. A whip will secure the kill for Caleb. He is 3-1 on this Renekton. An absolutely monstrous performance from him so far. He knows it. He's going to shove this wave in and get himself a nice cheeky recall off. And like you said, bot lane going very well as well for the side of Resolve. So even though if you just look at the numbers, this season has gone better for Singularity. Resolve have only been able to pick up 5 wins. They're having a great start to this game versus one of the top teams in their group. And it's going to be the on-hit build, or at least the crit build from Achu. So he's got the Noon cover in the inventory.
Well, there is a lot of front line on the side of Singularity, like for you to get through, whether that's Nautilus or Gragas. So as a there's benefits to going crit build, though we do tend to just see the lethality normally coming through from Varus. But we saw the gold toggled just a few moments ago, and you could see topside was like 1,000. Yeah, look at that, over 1,000 gold ahead. That's pretty crazy. Like, especially since you pick this Gragas into Renekton with the sole purpose of losing gracefully and not letting Renekton do Renekton things. Renekton has done a lot of Renekton things this game. That's not great. Singularity. Vizel's going to be struggling a bit up there. Now the question is, though, for Caleb, he's got this advantage and that's great. What can you do with it? How do you translate that into an advantage onto the rest of the map?
FGG posturing for something, although Nulti is also in the area. They find the hook from Prosper. Chu not got level 6, so he can't feel for his support without just using the heal. It's going to be a light trade, but at the end of the day, already lost FGG a bunch of health for him, but they are going to step away. They are going to cool it there. And Kamara's going to just make his way back towards the mid lane. I want to hit on FGG, actually, because, we've been singing his praises. He's jumped up from the UKEL to the UKLC and now finally to the NLC. He's had an absolute corker of a split. When he was on Resolve, they were having an amazing split in the UKLC. Now coming over here into the NLC. And honestly, his performance since joining has made Resolve look so much better. They had a really bad start to the season.
Yeah. They were always a team we were expecting a little bit more from them, Resolved. Weren't quite able to bring the results in. And they have struggled this season. It's not really been their split. But the addition of FGG, I mean, you can even see it just in this game, just having that 20 CS lead, it's really good stuff. And being able to have like a stronger, like a lane to play through, consistently for you to be able to play through. It means a lot, and it makes your life a lot easier if you are Soft, for example, who I think, he's got the talent, but he's just not really been able to necessarily find what he's wanted in the NLC so far. Hasn't really been able to make his plays and be that force that we've seen from him before in the UKLC. But having a lane to play through consistently, as he has with his bot side, is always something that's nice. It will give him that extra boost as he looks to be more of one of the stronger carry threat junglers we have here in NLC.
She's been zoned off this wave. It's just going to be a free play for Singularity, and a bit of a denial as Achu actually lands the arrows onto Prosper and gets him chunked pretty heavily, but Tower wasn't actually able to target Prosper or Dragdar, so both are going to be able to make it away with their lives as FGG no 6. So I think all that kill pressure is donezo in this bot side.
Now we got the Herald in the pocket of Soft. Question is, where's he going to put it? And I think in this game, this matchup specifically, there's one proper place to put Herald, and that's mid. Like, you could put it top to unlock Renekton and to get him out of the lane and to enable him to move around the map a little bit more. And I think normally that might actually be the go-to, but I think when you're playing versus Ziggs, honestly, I just think it's huge to be able to put that Herald against the Ziggs. It's just like, how else are you going to be able to take that mid tower? I think it's going to be way too hard. And we might even have a bit more priority over the second Herald as well, which usually doesn't see a lot of love, as we're going to see Prosper a little bit far forwards here.
Well, Chu's been spotted out, flashes away on the hook, but here comes Soft, instantly caught out by the depth charge, and he's popped. Prosper finds the kill. FGG now going to be chased onto, but the flash hook comes in from Prosper, and Dragdar will secure himself nothing because Prosper stole it. He got a double kill.
What was that? That was like Resolve were in position to make that play. They were like flanking as well over the wall from against Prosper, and then that was, oh my goodness, that was just very hugely miscommunicated right there. Kamara's gonna have to flash away as well. My goodness. Yeah, Resolve had a great start to this game, but it's all going wrong for them right now these past 5 minutes. Or even look at I don't understand why is I R2 jumps out, Soft goes in, FGG doesn't go. It's just a comedy of errors at this point, really. It is. And that
it went bad. It did not go good. Nolty, who's on our screen as well, 5 stacks now on the Kindred. Whew. That 4th one is that magical one for the extra range and stuff, but 5 working his way up towards the next. He is well and truly in this game. And, you know, topside started great for Resolve, but they haven't really done anything else with it since those 3 kills were picked up by Kalim.
And speaking of Kalim, if there's something you don't... Oh, here comes the engage.
Oh!
And just... Woo! Bloody hell.
I mean, yeah. Yeah.
There's that. That's going to go into a topside dive as well. Vasor's in trouble.
This might just be that winged dish I was talking about. Kalim actually got bot back by the cask, and Dominus popped. He's just going to get a whole bunch of damage into Wazer. Oh my lord, he might just solo kill him. Not going to do it though, because Soft is making his way forward, and in he jumps. Soft secures the kill onto Wazer. They've got Herald. You said mid was probably the best place, but it could just inject this gold and unlock the Renekton even more so.
At this point, I mean, that situation has been served up to a plate. Great bounce back right there from Resolve. Not a great play in the bot side, but that's really, really good. Finding that pick in the jungle on Nolty, being able to get that Diver's Door and the first blood tower is massive. That was a huge swing for them. Almost 2,000 gold in the lead right now. It's going to get another charge here as well.
I think they're getting another tower.
I think you're right, honestly.
Oh no, that's a lot of gold as well. These tier 2s are worth that much. And
yeah,
tower gets picked up. They do find themselves all the CC necessary to kill Chimera, though. He has no flash. He has nowhere to go. Shut down for Nolty.
Okay, that's a little bit sloppy though from Chimera there. We had potential to rotate over to the dragon here and make something happen. But he's just going to go down, and then Singularity should be able to pick this one up. It will be the 2nd dragon of the game. We'll see what soul it's going to be, either Cloud or Infernal. Infernal soul, when you've got Samira, Ziggs, Kindred, would be absolutely disgusting. But we'll see which one it's going to be. They're going to flip Cloud, Infernal. It's Infernal.
I mean, there's not a single team that doesn't want Infernal. Both of these teams are going to use that incredibly well, but
yeah.
Xerath, Ziggs, 2 champions, I think. You're not going to want them to have Infernal. They're going to do even more damage, even more burst.
Yep. Absolutely. It's a lot. It's kind of scary. It's going to be, I think this Dragon Soul is definitely something teams are going to want to contest at this point. Like Singularity, normally you see teams like they'll give out the first 1, 2 dragons, sometimes even the first 3, though that's starting to get into risky territory. But I wouldn't be surprised to see more focus put on securing these next dragons coming up, because that soul is going to be huge. Like, you really don't want to give Infernal Soul over to either one of these teams, especially Singularity. Resolve don't have a front line to tank the poke, but here comes Dragda.
Dragdar looking for a Chew jumping in, but the bombs are on, and Chew's not going to be able to dodge it. Solar Flare dodged out by Dragdar, but here comes Nolty. FGG, can he save his AD carry? I don't think so. Dragdar's going to secure the kill. Is FGG going to get chased onto, but is going to be able to make his way out to safety. Shield Bow now picked up for a Chew. That might be a little bit too late.
Yeah, Shield Bow, that's interesting. I don't usually see Shield Bow on Varus, to be honest. But, I mean, if he thinks he's going to get jumped on and needs a little bit more survivability, he's relatively low range, which is not what we say a lot about Varus, but the fact that he's going for an auto-attack focused build. Like, his auto-attacks are pretty low range, doesn't have any, mobility spells or anything like that. So unless you're playing lethality Varus, you can be quite vulnerable trying to put out your DPS. And I guess, trying to navigate the field against the Ziggs and whatnot is going to put you a little bit far forward, and that Shield Bow can help you out.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many stacks do you know he has now? He's got 6. It might be on his 7th one. If he is on 7th one, he's got another injection of range. Oof.
Oh, Flash now burned by Chimera. He has 6 at the moment, so 1 more to go. I don't think there's any marks on the map for him at the moment, but the Herald's going to be up, and he'll be quite happy to pick that one up. Kraken Slayer in pocket as well. Nolty, monstrously strong right now. And again, they unlock the Renekton, but he's just going back towards topside. There's no towers for him to take. There's no real split push pressure he can actually put down. So, kind of a sad alligator.
Yeah, it is. It's like, this is the problem though with Renekton in general, is you can have strength in the early game, you have strength in the lane phase, and even in a game like this where I think that Singularity was set up pretty well to deal with Renekton, he still found a way to get ahead, and that's great. Like, that's really cool to be able to have a champion like that, to have a lane that you can play through like that as well. But honestly, this is the downside of it as well. Like, Renekton by himself just can't it's hard to translate when Renekton's leading it to something meaningful. And I don't think that Resolve have been able to do that very well this game at all. We'll see. He's kind of hiding this bush. The rest of his team's on the way up. They're going to see him on that sweep, though. Not going to be able to catch Singularity sleeping, but we might just get an engage.
Oh, you go straight in for the dominance, but instantly all of the CCs landing down, flashes forwards into Dragdar's face. They throw out the ultimate from Nulty to keep everybody alive, and they can buy some space as the Infernal Trigger might just get pulled. The bomb comes down, and Singularity are crumbling, but actually might just be Resolver in trouble because it's getting turned back around once again. Nulty free firing in, and Fury flashes forward with a satchel charge. The burn will secure the kill, and Weasel with a belly bop, and one final cask. Singularity just flip it straight back over, and they get the team fight victory.
And Resolve, they try to fight with their strong Renekton, but it wasn't enough. And when you can't win team fights like that, that spells a lot of doom for you in the rest of this game. This is the point in the game where you're meant to be able to use that Renekton, where you can abuse his strength. He hasn't fallen off just yet, 15 minutes in. But Singularity are just too strong, and it's really hard to play into them if you're Renekton as well. Look at Kalen. Look at him trying to reach people here. He just can't do it. It's really tough. And even though this Kindred ultimate comes down to buy some time, Zig's ult then gets layered on top of it as well. It's just like Renekton's just not set up for success here. If he can find a flank, he can absolutely demolish the backline. But if you can't, and he's relying on being that like initially engage, doesn't work.
It does not indeed, but the dragon spawning up. This will be the third one for Singularity if they can get their hands onto this one, and I think we're going to see Soft jump away to safety. I thought we were about to die there, and that could have spelled doom. I'm assuming Nulty got a stack from that, because unless he had a 2 marks, then yeah, he's on 7.
Yeah,
so he's got the extra range
7.
again. There it is.
Yeah, number 4, like you said, is the big one. That's when you go from 0 to I'm not actually 100% sure what the number is, but
it's a lot.
Every third from that is, it's not as big as 0 to 4 stacks, but it's still something. Increased range from the Q and your auto attack. Kalem,
Kalem jumps in. He does get the dominus off. He slices. That's a lot of damage and a lot of healing as the arcane barrage is coming down. It's actually right at the arcane, but regardless, they're looking for the fight. FTG is making his way in. Dragon has already been secured by Fury with the burn, and now they're looking to try and find something else, but it's only going to be one. Chimera secures the kill into Wazor, and Resolve only killing the top laner, who was 1 and 4 at the time. For the Dragon, not worth at all. This is Singularity, who are in control right now.
And Singularity, who are on soul point for that Infernal too. And that's going to be really scary. 5 minutes forward from here, we're going to have another repeat of that Dragon play. This is the thing, though. This is where it gets really tough. As long as Singularity don't do anything like incredibly dumb at this point and don't get picked out of position as well. You know, we saw early on in the game when Resolve did a really good play to catch an ulti out in his own jungle. As long as something like that doesn't happen too much, especially around the time of this Dragon spawning, Singularity are going to be in a great spot because you've got control of this game. You can move together as a unit. You can put that vision down. You can sweep it out around the Dragon as well. And then it forces Resolve to play into you. And it forces them to play in the Fog of War. And holy moly, you do not want to play into Fog of War against Ziggs. And then even people like Nautilus who can just turn it around on you. Like, it's just going to be really, really horrendous for them. And, you know, Resolve have to find a way to get some control on the map because they're not, right now, they've not got anything. And if they keep playing like this, if they keep being starved for resources and starved for like vision on the map, they're going to be in a lot of trouble when this Infernal Storm is going to go the way of Singularity. And that might just be the game if it does.
You also got to keep in mind as well, Fury he's almost fully stacked his Seraphs. He's got it finished though over Chimera, who's got all of the components but no item. A kill here onto Fury would be enough, but they are able just to keep himself alive. And just poke over the walls. This team are coming in for some backup. They've not been able to take this mid lane tower from either of the mid laners, so the wave clip from these mages starting to be a little bit annoying. This is kind of what we predicted coming into this game.
Yeah, I said like there's a lot of value in putting Herald mid. That didn't happen like first or second Herald. Both of them went down topside. And this is kind of what happened. That 2 blue buffs are down as well. There's Ludens on Chimera with his tier and like the fully stacked tier as well from Fury. Like you're just not going to be able to get through the mana bars here. You have to be able to find and engage.
Oh, they're throwing the right and the arcane down here. He slowed the final shot. It's blocked out by the Lamb's respite. Nulty. That's an angry B, but that's a happy B. Let's be real.
Yeah, and I don't know if Fury can just stay around. He's got the range. I don't think he has to worry about this one.
Oh, the chains, the damage is so
No,
big. And Chew with the snipe.
Wow.
Okay, he's crit and he still does that much damage.
Yeah, that was a lot. That was a huge amount of damage right there. You got to be
Maybe
so
the champion's
careful.
just broken.
Yeah, Varus is just, honestly, it's just disgusting. It's the Negatron Glow. That's what it was. That's what gives him all that extra bonus damage on his Q. Grim champion.
Man, don't.
Wait.
I used to be an old Galio main. Don't make me feel sad. I miss getting damage from Magic Resist.
You used to be able to like shield yourself, get extra MR, and then use your abilities.
Used to heal from Teemo Burn. It was beautiful. Anyway, Baron's been started up, and Singularity are aware of it thanks to the bomb that came down and did a lot of damage to Caitlyn, but nobody's going to be dying. And with the arrows and with the Xerath, the wave should be pretty easy to take out, but they're coming in, and Chimera's rooted up with the Everfrost. He is down. And they might just be able to turn this into another tower as well here. Chew hasn't really got the damage to clear waves. It is just the crit build. So tower number 2 goes down in the mid lane. Like that, mid is opened up.
You find that gap to try and push when you don't have the wave clear from either the Ziggs or the Xerath, and suddenly things become a lot easier. It's a great pick up there from Singularity though, considering they lost their jungler to begin with and it was them on the back foot. Fury with his ultimate just to clear out the Baron, stops Resolve right there, and then they're out of position because everyone was playing Arrow in this game, right? They're all just sitting in mid lane. You weren't going to be able to siege towers like that because Resolve tried to take the opportunity to go for that Baron. It meant that when they were thwarted, they weren't in position to defend the mid push, and really, really great opportunistic play there from Singularity, who's now 1 minute away from the dragon spawning. You're just going to keep the Ziggs in the mid lane, just keep clearing these minion waves out, start working together as a team. Going, ooh, I don't think he might go that direction.
That was a bit of a fumble.
I mean, it's the styling. That's just BM, mate. Give him the BM points.
Dragon spawning up, like you said, 30 seconds time. And Fury still full health, thanks to a couple of missed ultimates and creative jukes, we'll call it. That's what we'll call it.
Creative jukes. Yeah, okay, that's one word for it. Both teams have a lot of poke, but where's the engage going to come through? We have a Leona on the side of Resolve. Is she going to pull the trigger?
Yeah, always has to be so careful. Soft's on that flank as well, and it is Resolve who've got first move into the jungle, but Caitlyn, Depth Charge is going to land in. The stun comes onto Chimera, but it's not Nulti who gets hit. As they come in for the Solar Flare, FGG doesn't actually hit anyone, and Soft just has to Void Assault away to safety for the moment as a Chew is clipped by the belly bomb into the flash. He's able to get away for now as Dragdar, his shield bow is popped by Chimera. Health bars are low and the arrows are doing damage, but they get the next bot onto a Chew, and that'll be the end of his days. Able to find himself a shutdown and jump away to safety himself. Teleports are coming in, and here comes Kalen. He's trying to find the fat man who's slowed down, and the crocodile will hunt him down. Hook comes in for Prosper, and he may have just given himself into the jaws of the beast. Shutdown for Kalen. And a team fight victory once again for Resolve, and this time it will result in a dragon.
And that's huge because that will be the Dragon's Soul. As I mentioned earlier, that may have just been game for Singularity if they're able to pick that one up. Resolve being able to take that team fight, take the dragon away as well. That's huge. It's massive. We're dead even on gold right here. I have to give props to the way that Soft played this. But to begin with, you're seeing these team fights, a lot of it's just who pulls the trigger first, like who goes for the engage. Because there's so much like poke and throw. Like if you're not jumping in first, it can be really hard to just not get chunked out before the fight even begins. Yeah. And honestly, at this point in the game, like at this point in the fight, I should say, Singularity are kind of on top, but being able to throw some more poke out from the Xerath as well, who has been focused down a lot in this game, you can see just does a lot of damage. And like that's always, that gives the opportunity for someone like Soft to come in and mop up, go for that assassination. And then that was pretty much all she wrote. Like, it's just really, really important that you just try and find the window in. I think Singularity did that a little bit better in this fight, but then the poke coming through from Xerath was a little bit disrespectful from the side of Singularity. Didn't get out of the way enough, and it cost them.
But how much has it cost them? That is the real thing here. Can they, make something of this, or is that just going to be a bit of a time port? You've got the Horizon's Focus finished up for Chimera. Pretty much a perfect item for Xerath, if we're going to be completely honest.
Yeah, not bad. Stay at range, do some more damage. I'm not an expert, but I do think Xerath has got some decent range in him. Here comes his ulti poke.
Well, I mean, you got to land the follow-up, otherwise it doesn't actually proc. But, you got that
That's
first
true.
one.
That's true. I think it's a relatively low cooldown at this point, though, for the Xerath ulti, not a big problem. I think Prospect now as well, when he looks for these engages, he's going to want to try and find either a Chew or the Xerath.
Able to dodge away as the depth charge is going to land. The bomb comes down and loses half his health straight away, and Caleb's shield is just being melted. The solar flares there, and Soft able to dodge away for the moment. The Lamb's Respite's been used, and the teleports are coming in. Resolve's health bars are oh so low, and Caleb is trying to find the kill. He flashes away to safety. What a play by Caleb. And Singularity, they thought they had that. It was oh so close, but too far.
Resolve just playing these team fights really, really well. It's tiny things. It's really small things that Resolve are able to just find in these fights that give them the advantage. And I have to give massive credit to them. They did it before at the Dragon. They've done it again here in a Chew with balls of steel. Being able to just walk forward there against Prospect, who's running towards him with that speed up. Look at this. Achu doesn't blink, man. Look, he just runs into him to dodge out the Q. I love that. That is confidence right there. Works out for him as well. And a turnaround from Resolve to get back into this, where it looked like Singularity had the chase there. They had the engage. They had it all. And Caleb, as you say, that's just perfect stuff.
That was...
that's just really well played.
Stuff. That was genuinely Chad stuff. He ran into the Lamb's Respite for the heal. Like, actual Chad stuff from him. Caleb, beautiful. Chef's kiss, mate.
That is pure chef's kiss. He's played well. You know, he had a good early game and wasn't really able to do too much after the early. I do think Resolve were kind of dropping the ball a little bit. And I was worried. You know, I was worried about the Renekton, who kind of peaks at that point, and it wasn't looking too good. But the way he's played these team fights has been pretty good, honestly, especially since he's been able to TP back into the fights. Like, he usually gets chunked out to begin with and TPs back in. And we'll see whether we'll get a repeat performance of that one. As fortunately for him, his TP tends to, like, synchronize, its cooldown synchronizes with the spawns of the dragon. Because every time he's used it, it's because he's got chunked out a dragon.
Oh my!
Yeah, do you see that? Yeah, that
damage. It went onto the other side of the ball. Oh wait, no.
Yeah,
okay, cool. It's still a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. You know, the fact that okay, we're gonna get engaged here.
Oh, I think FTG is just gonna be cooked. The solar flare doesn't even hit anyone. It is a fading fail from him. But Wazor going low to Achu, but Achu can't finish up the damage. Now he has to be a little bit careful. The right to the arcane comes down. Wazor, some style points are thrown down. He can't time it in time. The flash. That scream.
Like, I mean, that was a clincher. Full on, man. Like, the comments started following him, the burn was coming through. Like, it was just, oh my goodness, that was. Wazor's gonna survive that one. It's just one kill at the end, and to be honest, because Dragon hadn't spawned just yet, they're not gonna get anything out of it. But Soft and Achu, yeah, they're also not gonna get picked out of position. They're gonna be safe. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, and it will just be like a rinse and repeat, honestly. So now we take stock of like what was used in that last engage to see how it's going to influence this next engage that's going to happen very soon now around the dragon, because most summoners weren't used, you know, like we use ultis and like there's some TPs gone down here, but that's it really. Like Short Visor doesn't have his belly flop engaged, which I think that's honestly like the key thing to keep your eyes on here. Like with Visor not having his flash against someone like Xerath and Varus, who are low mobility, you can catch them out of position really easily with the E-Flash. That's not available here for Singularity. That might be the difference in this next fight.
Okay, not just lost half his health. What? That's 2.5 items Xerath, by the way, with pen boots. Teleport's coming in. Caleb then loses a quarter of his health to the bombs as they've got the stun, they've got the ability to try and kill Prosper. Chimera being zoned away for the moment, and the Chew has found Fury. Lamb's Respite's been thrown down, and Nulty just buying some time as he's caught out by the solar flares. FGG flashes away. The Inferno trigger is pulled by Dragdar, waiting for another reset, waiting for another S rank as Fury is going to get taken down by the Eye of the Arcane. And the damage from Chimera is so big, but Dragdar's got the Inferno trigger. He finds himself a kill, but it's a triple at the end of the day. Forced off on the, what do you call it?
Kha'Zix.
Kha'Zix, thanks, mate. And they got the dragon as well.
Yeah, they did. I didn't even see the dragon go down right there. That was the most important thing, honestly, about that fight, is the fact that Resolve were able to secure dragon again. Let's take another look, because I think it's really smart that you just instantly engage, just straight up. You don't waste any time. Resolve finally getting that first push in. And Resolve was just chasing down, like Achu's chasing down Fury on the backside. And without Fury being able to launch all of these spells into like the grouped up members of Resolve on that Ziggs, like it really just turns a huge amount of this fight, you know. And it's then just becomes like it was like a fight on like 2 or 3 fronts right there. And that kind of turns into small skirmishes, or the equivalent of. And someone like Renekton, someone like Kha'Zix, they thrive in those environments. And that's how Resolve were able to come out on top.
Nulty 9 stacks on the Kindred right now. Obviously, that next stack that isn't a champion is the Baron. And that champion that is his stack is there, but FGG are not going to give him a freebie.
No, I would imagine not so. It's going to give him more. Oh! Okay.
That wasn't center. That wasn't center.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing about the current meta, right? It's like as the game goes on, everyone gets more damage, but no one's getting tankier because they're just not meta. people just pick damage. Even if you're picking champions that maybe can get tanky, like Gragas, Zhonya's, Everfrost, you know? So yeah, this poke is gonna hit hard and fast pretty soon.
Oh, Stuff has to flash. That is not what he needed. That's the fun thing about this meta is a tank is Renekton. He's considered a tank right now. As both supports are going to find each other, but the chains are coming in. Achu's been caught out by the depth charge, and Wazel's coming over the wall. He hasn't got anything. Great stopwatch by Achu, but he's going to get sent by the satchel back into the waiting jaws of Wazel. The slow from Stoff's going to be enough, and the right of the Arcane's going to come down, and Dragtar slides in. That Inferno trigger secures himself a triple kill, and he's going to go in for the quadra kill, but Caelim's going to do his best to try and shut him down. Dragtar still has a GA to work with. The shield bow's procced, and they're trying to keep him alive. Can they get more here? Can they get the ulti off? It will be massive for Dragtar, but I don't think he's going to be able to just about survive. That was a scrappy fight, and only 2 players per team is going to remain.
There's just so much happening in these team fights. I don't even know how the players are being able to navigate these team fights at all. Like, you've got to worry about people jumping on top of your face, and you've got to worry about all the spells that, like, look, all the abilities flying through. Renekton jumps in on top of you, but then there's still Xerath ultimate blocking through as well. Dragtar does really good, though, to get on the backside of Resolve and just get that easy triple kill. Like, Caelim is absolutely huge. And as we mentioned, like, in these situations, when they're kind of like skirmishes, a champion like Renekton just thrives. He's able to really, honestly, Resolve salvage that fight. Like, they didn't have much business getting back into that one. But it's just so hard to play the team fights. If it's not a big guy trying to stand on top of you and kill you, it's a big skill shot trying to land on top of your face and kill you as well. It's like, it's tough, man. It's really tough.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jake. Great.
Yeah, that fight. Sorry, man. I'm talking to production. Sometimes I'm just not there. It's fine.
That's why we like you, Jake. Are you here now?
I'm here.
Okay, cool.
Because I think a fight's about to break out, so I need to be here.
True, that's your job, man. That's why you get paid.
Wait, you guys are getting paid? Just to be clear, I am getting paid. Anyway, fight in the mid. Control has been secured here from Singularity, so they can, have a little bit more free roam to catch the waves where they please. Baron alive, Dragon about to spawn. GA up for Caelim. GA down for Dragtar. That could be a pretty impactful thing to keep track of here.
Yeah, and the flashes from both ADCs not up either.
Oh, if they can land that last bit of damage, it can be pretty monumental. Oh, Achu wasted the chains, but shorter cooldown, so it should be a-okay.
Yeah, there's so much though, man. It's just so much damage. This is, again, like,
still alive.
It's easy peasy lemon squeeze, isn't it? Like, yeah. You just throw skill shots in, and there's not really much you can do. You just have to try and dodge it, and there's no real downside. Yeah, Visor's in a bit of a pickle here. I'm not gonna lie. Nope, he's just gonna steady bop away. He's fine. All right, here we go. Another team fight coming up here. Chimera's got that blue buff. Nolty's walking a bit forward here. Now, a lot of these fights have been won by who can engage. Singularity might be able to rush it down.
Yeah, that's the jungle already dead. So it's secured. The bomb doesn't hit onto Achu. She's got a health bar, but it's still all the way up. And Caelim has to be a little bit careful here as the chains. It's getting fired out, but bunch of damage is coming out. He's getting all the CC. That was beautiful by Prosper. And Dragtar is just going to mop this one up. The Inferno trigger is huge. The Lance Respite will deny him the triple kill for now, but they do look to pop the GA. Soft is just going to reset. He wants nothing to do. Sustain is big, but it's not going to be big enough. And Soft actually didn't cancel the recall. And the wave's not really in a position where they can handle it. So may just be a Baron on the cards for the side of Singularity. Soft just catches the wave and reveals himself.
All right.
Achu's in the jungle.
Honestly, it was good though from Achu and Soft at the tail end of this one, especially Achu. Like, he focused down the minion wave there, because I do think Singularity could have ended if they had the minion wave. Instead, they're just going to have to settle, and I use that word lightly, with Infernal Soul and Baron. Still a pretty big prize though for that team fight, and I think Singularity is going to be quite happy with that one.
I think they're going to be very happy with that one. We'll have a look at the fight once again, though.
Yeah, I mean, the big problem here, yeah, it's just, but Singularity do dragons so fast and Resolve just aren't there. You know, they're just not there in time. You have to engage really, really, really quickly. Like, you don't have a lot of time to play with. And because you don't engage quickly and they realize, like, Resolve see Infernal Souls going down, it's like, crap, we have to get in, we have to do something. And then they go out of position, they're a bit disorganized, and that's how it's just so easy for Singularity to win the rest of this fight. But look, I don't know if the replay is going to continue to achieve killing minions, but either way, yeah, no, that's not really much of a replay worthy thing. It's watching a Q a minion wave, but still, that was that may have just been a bit game saving there as well, to be fair.
But 2-level disadvantage to Dragdar. Dragdar is full build now. She still has 2 slots. He still needs to get some more items, some more damage under his belt, because he's fairly utility focused with this build. He's got the Wits End to keep himself, sustained against Fury. He's got the anti-heal. But he's not really like a hyper carry right now. And chains are going down. The right of the Arcane's going to rain into Dragdar. He tries to block out on a bunch of that damage. A couple of shots go wide, and FGG misses out on the Zenith Blade.
I'm seeing sort of the uselessness of a pick like Kha'Zix in these specific situations.
Oh my god.
Yeah, okay. I mean, hits both carries with Zigzol. You got to dip a little bit here, huh?
By the way,
Soft on the flank, but he's no threat.
He's already got a quarter of his ult back. Soft is dead. He's dead. FGG's not really had a greatest game as far as landing his solar flares has been as well. Like, yeah,
I don't think Resolve's pulled the trigger enough, and he's been the main trigger, and it's just not. Yeah, I do think that's been a little bit of an issue for them. And like I said with Kha'Zix, he's not useful in these scenarios. I think Soft's actually played the Kha'Zix pretty well, but at this point, he's not going to be able to contribute too much. Singularity, they're just bombing it down. They got Baron. They're not looking to slow down at all. That's going to be one Nexus Tower. A TP coming in as well for the second one.
And with this win, our 4 tiebreaker scenarios will go down to just 2. Singularity low health bars, but the Lamb's Respite is doing all they need to keep themselves alive. The double kill onto Dragdar. He has been on the cusp of so many pentas. Nolty's going to lose his GA, and Singularity are going to close this out. 37 minutes on the clock. You know it's a game with a Xerath and a Ziggs when it goes that long. The Singularity ends the regular season on a win and end on a high note.
Singularity, honestly, there were moments in that game where I thought maybe they'd kind of fluffed it up a little bit, especially once the Resolve looked like they were going to get... They got a few dragons, right? But yeah, honestly, towards the end, just I think slightly better macro plays, slightly better knowledge of what to do around the objectives. The whole game since that 3rd dragon was let's play for dragon, let's play for soul. And they're just a teeny-weeny little bit better when it mattered.
Yeah, it was sad as well because Resolve had a good start in the bot lane. They had an amazing start in the top lane, but they just weren't able to translate the Renekton lead really anywhere other than those 2 towers topside, and then that was it. That was as much as that Renekton achieved, really, apart from maybe a few cool outplays and good team fighting moments. But for the most part, it was just Team Singularity who were able to take it all. And to break that down, we are going to have our analysts. Let's talk a little bit more about that. But before, it's time for a break. We're back in a moment, and they'll talk a little bit more about the game.